And welcome back to Prep Recruiting Inside of PRI here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, along with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato. And it's our special pleasure today to have Coach Tim Rebowe, the new head coach of the Nicholls State Colonels, on with us today. Tim, welcome to PRI. And how does it sound to be called a head coach?
Well, it's been a while, you know, head high school coach, but that was years ago. That was over 20 years ago, so it kind of has a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
Tim, 28 years in coaching. What intrigued you about Thibodeau and Nicholls State?
Well, I grew up around.
Right.
I grew up around the area. From when my brother was playing football there in the 70s, I was going there. Then when I was a high school coach, I would always go back to Thibodeau, had a lot of friends there. Went there in '95, spent 6 years as an assistant there. So I always had a special place in my heart, and I always kind of thought I'd end up back there one day.
And you've gone through your first recruiting season on the run. You coached here in the bowl game with ULL. And then the next day, hit the ground running on the recruiting trail. Talk about the transition from being an assistant one day to having to convince players that they need to be at Nicholls State.
You know, the press conference was November 22nd. It's hard to believe it's been over, almost 3 months already since we been named the head coach, and we still had a couple ball games left to play. And Mark Hudspeth, my head coach in Lafayette, was very good to me. He knew in the transition, so I was in the process of kind of gathering names, information, and trying to hire a staff. The bowl game was on December 20th, and then we hit the ground running. And putting together a staff was kind of tough, but then it was the Christmas holidays, and you had people scattered all over the place. So it was really fun, that month and a half of getting those guys and getting a good list together, and we think we did a good job of signing some good kids.
We're going to show a list of names in a little bit, Tim, but a lot of kids out here looking at this show right now who have been on the show, what are you looking for? What would it be to make a Nicholls State Colonel? What is the ingredient?
You know, I think just like when we were talking about me getting the job, it's got to be a right fit. It's got to be a kid that in a right fit in that area in South Louisiana who understands the dynamics. And we're also looking for a guy who wants to come and get a great education, which Nicholls State turns them out all, every year, and then guys that can come in and play, guys that want to come in and play early, want to help us build something and want to be part of that building process. We're looking for that kind of kid.
And let's take a look at the 2015, some of the players in that particular recruiting class.
You got guys that have been on the show. Ryan Hanley is an offensive lineman from Rebowe, a gritty kind of guy, maybe play inside guard or center. And Adrian Richardson, Pat Riley, Bryson Simmons actually committed on this show, Tim, and Mike Corcoran from John Curtis, and Jeff Hall is a guy out of Colorado. He's going to bring you that element of speed, and he's playing for the Colorado Buffaloes. What about some of those names we got up on the screen right now?
Well, when we went into the recruiting process, we were looking for linemen for one of the things we needed to. We identified, we signed 11 offensive and defensive linemen, and then we wanted to get some good athletes and some guys that can play. I said we were going to recruit local when I got the job, and we signed 26 high school kids, and we had 2 transfers, all from the state of Louisiana. We thought that was huge. We made a big splash in the recruiting in doing that. But you got some guys like Hanley and Richardson, some guys that wanted to be colonels, wanted to be a part of it. And we think, by staying locally like we did, and we still didn't compromise any talent. We think we got some good players that's going to help us in the near future.
And we had several of that first page here on Prep Recruiting Insider, and I had a chance to cover some of them doing games with WGSO with Ken Trahan. And those kids not only are good players, but they're winners as well. They're used to doing the work to winning. And as we get to the second page, you had 12 of the 26 on offense, so there's a little bit of an emphasis on defense. 6 offensive linemen. So there's the need that you were talking about. You never have enough offensive linemen.
Does anybody in the country? You never do. And we always said, hey, I wish some of them could come in right now. We need some guys to come in and help us through the spring. So, talking about the recruiting, you talked about Jeff Hall. We're going to be able to get a few transfers in. guys that can come in and help us, and because now when they step down, they can become immediately eligible. So we're going to look to add some guys, maybe some guys who went away, some guys who want to come back home and be part of a winning program. That's what we'll be looking for.
Now you got a guy, Jarrell Rogers, a guy transferred from ULL you're familiar with. Morel Bartholomew from West St. John, a wide receiver, big wide receiver. And Amani Martin, a guy from East St. John, I like a lot. A guy played strong safety, linebacker, and a couple of quarterbacks. Tim, you brought in Peyton Bombalon of Thibodeau, and Charles Brooks is a guy too, is a couple of quarterbacks in the mix.
Yeah, when you talk about guys like Amani Martin, and we're talking about football players, just a good football player. He might not be the biggest, he might not be the fastest, but what he does is he just wins. And Coach, you talked about that. Guys from good programs that know how to win, and good football players, and that's what we're looking for.
And on the defensive side of the ball, we always talk about you never have enough offensive linemen, and you certainly don't. But you never have enough defensive backs either, especially when the head coach is a defensive backfield specialist.
Of course, they were accusing me, saying, "Hey, all you wanted was DBs." But no, this coach understands how important it is up front on both sides of the ball, the O-line, D-line. We had so much success in Lafayette because we were good up front. And when you have guys that can rush the passer, or you have guys that can protect that quarterback, you're going to have some success. So, but you need those athletes, and we got some guys that we thought, some guys out of Baton Rouge that can help fill in those slots. So we'll be good in the secondary.
Tim, you got a good start. You have some foot soldiers on offense that's going to carry the ball. So you're getting a good start bringing some guys back in the backfield.
Yeah, you know what? When you look at it, and I've been saying this all along, the cupboard is not bare. I think they got some talent. I thought the previous staff did a good job of recruiting some talent, so we have players there. One, we have to keep them healthy. We're a little bit banged up going into spring, but then also, we got to change the mindset, and that's what we're working on doing now. So we feel like we're getting our players in shape right now, and we're bringing this good signing class with us that will be in the mix next year.
And that's a great point that you're making. I think coming from high school and having that background teaches you, first thing you do is get your kids up to speed, the kids you have. You don't just can them all,
right.
And get those kids up to speed and then improve with a new recruiting class.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got some good kids. I got some good leaders on that team. I mean, you have to talk about Michael Henry rushed for 1,000 yards last year. We got our quarterback coming back who's redshirted. We got Tobias Lofton running back. We got some skill at the receivers. So I think we're going to be okay with the guys we have. And look, those guys are starving. I mean, they're hungry. They want something. So we're not looking behind. We're not looking in the past. Last year is gone. So we look. Everything is in front of us.
When we come back after this short break here at NOLA Motorsports, we're going to talk with Coach Rebowe about how he's organizing his program all the way from the ground up. We'll be right back after this timeout on PRI. And we are back with Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey. We're here at NOLA Motorsports Park in the Cart Lounge. Up here on the second floor, get to survey all the things going on around. Unbelievable. And we're here with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato. And once again, Tim Rebowe, the head football coach at Nicholls State University. Tim, once again, it's a pleasure having you on. You've got a dual responsibility right now. First, you have to calm things down and get things organized, because at the end of last football season, the football program was in disarray.
Right.
So you're having to reassemble that while you're trying to build up a new culture, so to speak. Talk about the challenge that it's actually more difficult in the situation you're in now than starting from ground zero.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. If you were just going in and starting a program from zero, you can mold it and shape it like you want. We have to go in and we just got to change everything. We went in academics. It did slip a little bit at the end when nobody was in control, so we had to do that. We're trying to upgrade the facilities, which is not the best. The campus is unbelievable. They're beautiful. We have brand new dorms, a new rec center, and the next phase is working on our athletics facilities, which been good. When I went in there, one of the reasons I did take the job was because we had support from the president. And when I met with the president, he's been there 1 year, and Dr. Murphy, and I knew and I could tell right there that he was committed to athletics, and that he knows how important it is to the total university. And so I was excited about that, and him with the athletic director, Rob Bernardi, that we have things moving forward from here.
You're going to judge you by wins and losses, Tim, and only 2 winning seasons in the last 13 years. What is your short-term, what is your long-term realistic goals?
Well, you know, when you talk about winning seasons, you know, they're coming off a 0-12 season last year. I'm all familiar with that now too. When we were back there in '95, we had a winless season and came back and turned it around the next year. So I do know it can be done. It's done after that when Darryl Day was there and Jay Thomas had winning seasons. So I think with the right people in place, you can be successful at Nicholls State University in Thibodaux, Louisiana. What we have to do is, you know, short-term, small victories every day. We win those battles. We win those battles in the weight room. We win them in the classroom. Those are the things we're doing. Long-term is I want Nicholls State to be on the map, and people not just looking to say, oh, here's another victory we play in the Nicholls State Colonels, that we're going to have success. And I want to rally that community. I want them all to have something they can be proud of and say, hey, and they can claim that this is my university.
And one of the challenges in rejuvenating a program is hiring a coaching staff. And this is the first one that you get to hire, I'm assuming from beginning to end, that they've got to give you that type of support. Talk about the challenges of assembling a coaching staff, not just getting a group of guys together, but a group of coaches that understand what you want.
Yeah, again, when you go, you've been a head coach, you know, so you always have a list of guys. Say, hey, if I'm the head coach, if I had, need an offensive coordinator, this is the guy I'm going to go after. Well, you start putting together guys that you want to work with. The biggest thing is guys you can trust. And that, in that business, in this business, that's the huge, huge thing we want to do. So I had a short list of guys. The thing is, unfortunately, if I was coaching for the New Orleans Saints and I said, hey, Rick Gailey, you want to come coach with me? Hey, absolutely, right? But if and sometimes it becomes a financial thing. So, but I put together a good staff of guys, again, who want to be there, who's hungry, some young guys, some high school guys, some guys that were in college with me in Lafayette, and some guys that I've worked with previously. So I think we got a good mix, some go-getters, some guys who know how to recruit, great evaluators of talent, because I think that's what we have to be where we are, and then there'll be great teachers as well.
Tim, you at UL Monroe and ULL most recently. What do you take from those two programs to where you are now?
I think everywhere you go and coach can, you learn. You always take something from everybody. When I was at Destrehan and I was a young assistant and I was brought up under Chipper Simon and he taught me, all about discipline and all the things. And then you move on to college and you're under Barbier and you go to Monroe. What you do is you take some good things from everybody along the way. And obviously you sit there and say, hey, man, I'm not so sure I would do it this way. I'm going to try it this way. So I've learned a lot of good things. And Mark Hutchbett told me about motivation. And I'm trying to take some of that magic, some of the things that we did in that Lafayette community and bring it to Thibodaux.
And your expertise has always been on the defensive side of the ball, except for 1 year when you coached receivers.
1 year, that was at Nicholls.
At
yes.
Nicholls, way back in the day. Talk about how active you're going to be in coaching defense. FCS is different from the bowl series,
right?
With the number of coaches on the staff. So head coaches usually have to be active in actually coaching on the field.
Yeah.
FCS, tell us how you're going to integrate your total responsibility along with, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I think you gotta hire you some good coordinators, which I did. And Rob Christophel is my offensive coordinator, and Tommy Ryback, he's my defensive coordinator. And you got to be able to trust them, and you got to be able to, because I can't be in both rooms at the same time. And then I'll be very active in the special teams. But I kind of want to let those guys run it a little bit with me being the CEO. Running the whole show, but you got to be able to trust those guys and let them do what they do. Rob's the expert on offense. I'm going to let him run with it.
This area is very fertile for recruits. What makes this a recruit from this area, Southeast Louisiana, Tim, so appealing to coaches around the country?
Man, I was just talking to a coach who's coaching in the NFL on the way here, and he says, again, more per capita in this area playing in the NFL. So there's a reason why everybody comes here to recruit in the South Louisiana, because you can get whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for linemen, you're looking for skill, you can get, and there's enough to go around for everybody.
Tell us when you're going to start spring practice, when it's going to end, and are you going to have a coaching clinic?
Right now, we're starting on March the 3rd. We want to go ahead and we're going to practice 4 days a week. The spring game will be March 28th. Try to get it done before the spring break, in case you get some injuries and stuff like that. So we're in the process right now of meeting, putting together playbooks, getting the staff together. We'll have spring, get it early, and then we'll be pretty simple this spring. You want to find out who can play, who can block, who can tackle, those types of things. Right now, we have so much going on at Nicholls State with the Manning Passing Academy, the O-line, D-line camp. Right now, we're not scheduled to have a clinic, but I do look to maybe bring that back because those were pretty good.
Yeah, and you got Laurie DuPont and Don Rodrigue right down the road.
I have the two masters.
I think they might be able to help you in that. Well, thank you, Coach Rebowe. Tim Rebowe, the new head coach of Nicholls State University. Thank you so much for being with us, Tim. This will not be the last time. We're here at NOLA Motorsports Park, home of the Grand Prix of Louisiana. We're in the karting lounge, but the racing's going on right outside. We're going to be right back after this timeout.